Now, in other news, school heads and leaders in Nachivale refugee settlement have raised concern over parents that have continued to send children to school with no consideration for what they will eat. The schools now want the government and implementing humanitarian agencies to consider feeding of learners while at school, at least with a lunch meal, to minimize the chances of children dropping out of school. Alex Mugasha was in Nachivale and filed this report.
Schools across Uganda have continued to encounter challenges in feeding learners. In the Nachivale refugee settlement, school heads say learners are studying on empty stomachs because their parents are no longer providing lunch.
They don't have food at home. They have to go to the villages, look for food for some days. Then after getting food, they come to school.
At Nachivale Primary School, which has a total of over 3,000 learners, Nalugave Evelyn, the school head teacher, notes that many learners move long distances, arrive late at school, but still study without lunch.
So if they can be supported by just giving them lunch at school, maybe that problem of absenteeism can be stopped or reduced.
Learners come late because they come from very far.
A learner cannot go there, spend the whole day minus food. Tomorrow you expect him to go back to school. So if he goes there today, tomorrow he will not go because he will be hungry. Sometimes they even sleep on an empty stomach. Even the whole day, spend the whole day minus not having anything to put in the stomach. Seriously, the situation is so alarming.
According to Agatha Natukunda, a senior education officer in Essenjero district, much as feeding learners is a responsibility of parents, many refugee families cannot afford, yet schools don't provide lunch at schools, something she says is affecting learner retention in schools.
The parents cannot afford a midday meal for their learners. So you find that learners depend on water. So that is the reason as why you find that retention is very hard in Essenjero, especially within the refugee settlement.
We also realize that there's a great need for scholastic materials, relevant scholastic materials such as books, pens, that really encourage the students to catch up with their education.
Despite programs available by humanitarian agencies like the Education Cannot Wait Consortium that brings together a number of humanitarian agencies to help refugee children access proper education, feeding remains a challenge.
Most of these schools that firstly host new arrivals of refugees and also host a great number of vulnerable children in the community, we are providing them with relevant scholastic materials that will really aid them in their education.
It means that we need to increase on structures, to increase on latrines, to increase on number of teachers, scholastic materials, sanitary materials.
In October last year, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees experienced funding shortfalls that forced them to make cuts to its life-saving aid to refugees. Alex Mugasha, NBS, live at 9.